Back to another video. Usually I would start off with demoulding, but first off I wanted to just talk quickly about the resin that I'm using and why I chose to use this. So the resin that I personally am using is by Magic Fly, great name, purchased on Amazon. Now this particular resin is a two-part resin. As you can see, we have hardener and resin. Now these bottles are the same amount, but so you're measuring by volume when you're mixing. They come with these handy little caps so that you can actually pour the resin out if you're doing a small amount. If you're doing a large amount, it can be a bit frustrating. Now this kit is under £30, but it comes with quite a lot of stuff. Some stuff which I won't be using. The pipettes, you get gloves, you get this, which is actually this mat underneath here. Scraper tools, tweezers, super useful. And then we have sandpapers, which are quite harsh sandpapers, but still get used nonetheless occasionally. You also get 4 of these wonderful things. Resin does stick to them, but it's quite easy to get off. And this thing, which I don't really use an awful lot because it's a bit flexible. We also get 10 of these measuring cups, which are 20ml, and have all the way down to 5 marked on them. And then you get 10 of these, which are 10ml ones, which are all stuck together. Again, you've got all the little blips. It's harder to measure out smaller amounts of resin, I've discovered, than do a larger amount of something in one go. These are amazing things. I use these a lot. I have not used these yet. This is about my 3rd or 4th kit of this Magic Fly resin. Provided you mix correct quantities, so the smaller amounts that you could mix in here, I struggle with a little bit. Within the kit you do get these as well, which is a bigger amount, and this one. Now this one, I don't know if you could tell, you can't really see on here how much is in it, and the resin is clear, so it doesn't really help. What I've been doing is just with a pen on the outside is marking these so that I can actually see them for accuracy, or using this one if I'm doing a large amount of resin. So it's a 2-part, equal parts, and then perhaps making multiple things, as you've likely seen, and those two don't want to go back inside each other, so we'll just leave that like that. So the reason that I chose this resin was partly because it comes in a kit with most of the stuff you need, bar the things that you're going to make. Essentially, I really hate these gloves because you use them, they get really sticky, you throw them away. The pipettes also, whilst they're good for certain things, they clog quite quickly, and they're very difficult to clean out, which means you end up throwing them away. We have other things that I will use those for. The mats are great. I chopped one of these up and actually put it in the bottom of my pressure pot. These, I guess if you're doing bigger amounts of work, they'd probably be more useful. So I can't really talk about the value of these, but actually I think for the money that you pay, the kit itself is quite good. Now there's probably people that would disagree with me on that, and bearing in mind that this is what I started out with, I personally feel like this is quite good value. The problem I'm having now is I have everything in the kit. I don't need to constantly keep getting mats and gloves and pipettes and these, which, although great, I've now got a considerable amount of. I'm just not going to use them. And although you're supposed to throw these away, if you wipe them out properly afterwards, you can actually reuse them, and I don't want to keep contributing to the waste. So personally, this is probably the last kit of this I will buy, because I don't want to keep getting all the stuff all over again. So I have ordered some new resin, which I'm currently waiting for, but I have some other exciting things to talk about today, hopefully. Now, hopefully if you've arrived at this video, you've seen some of my previous videos where I've talked about the dice making process and the types of things that I've been using and where I've been getting them from. I did make a set of purple dice, which I pulled off camera. Actually, I'm really pleased with these. The way the light, if I can get them in the light, the way the light comes through them. The fact that I used alcohol ink as well as mica powder to get this kind of smoky effect. There we go, you can kind of see it in there. There are also some residual marks here from the alcohol inks, which you can kind of hopefully see a bit there. Really pleased with this set. Tried to make another set for my partner. Didn't go quite as well. Let me just show you these. He really likes these still. They're still a nice set, but the only one with any clear patches in is actually the D4 here, which in all its lethalness. But there is some nice markings that I've managed to obtain with the, you see there, with the alcohol inks, where there's like a, I don't know what you'd call it, like a band or something running through some of the numbers from the alcohol inks. So I was quite pleased with how those turned out. He really likes them, which is good because these are still raw from the mould. I've trimmed off around the edges and we are not getting any bubbles now, which is great. So having felt like this one was a failure, I tried to make another set, but I used blue this time just to see if I could get some more variation between the colours. I think I cracked it here. I don't know how well you can see. There we go. So we have the blue with like a cloudiness, I suppose you'd call it. The mica powder still sinks to the bottom, but actually I quite like that because it's on the 20 face. The others have some nice, where it's taken some of the mica down and some of it's still kind of swelled in. Hopefully you can see that there. And then the others as well, obviously, the I don't know what it is about the sixes, they just come out really nice. I have some really cool looking sixes, and actually the whole set of these has come out quite nice. I did notice a blip with my mould, however, which I've contacted the seller about, and I'm pleased to say that they're going to replace it. Again, not sure if you can see this, but just on the 19 face here, there is a little weird dent, which I noticed on this particular set and on some of the others, and again on the 13 face. So I contacted the sellers and sent them some pictures of these, and they very kindly offered to replace the mould, which is great news because clearly there was an issue with the mould. So big them up because that's really good. Not every seller would admit that there was a fault and on offer to replace things. So I'm quite pleased with that. I've been doing a lot of purchasing from this company, Suppliers Studio. They have their own website. I've been purchasing from Etsy, however, and they make this really cool mould. It was an awful lot, to be honest. The first Cthulhu type thing I made was this. There is a little bit of it was mostly leftover resin in there, so it's not awfully clear. This one, however, is, you could probably see better like that. This is awesome. This glows in the dark, something crazy. You can kind of see on camera there a bit. Really, really pleased with the quality of the stuff that I'm getting from Supply Studio. I've also got some dice in the mould over there using this, which is purple or green, or purple and green, colour shifting stuff. I also, well, this one's not in the mould as well. This is the one that I've used that's in the mould. It's also stuck on the mat a bit here so you can see it, hopefully. This is like a purple and a blue, which I haven't used yet, but I can't wait to use that. And what else did we have? Oh yes, it's green, it's yellow, it's orange, it's many colours. And then I've got this, which is like a grey. There's lots of kind of iridescence in there too. And just a purpley, pinky, silvery one too. But also sort of bluey, which I quite like. So some of these are chameleon ones, and some of them are just a particular colour, I think. I can leave you a link to the Suppliers Studio in the comments so that you can go and check out their range. They have, as you can see, an awful lot. And they love to put in little complimentary things, which are so cute and really, really much appreciated. I also got this complimentary, which I have no idea what I'm going to do with these, but look at the sparkle on those. They're just cool looking. So you've got the outer star shape and some of the inner star shapes in there as well. Kind of makes me feel like it's like candy. Kind of want to eat it. But that was complimentary, and I ordered these too. So hopefully you can see these. These are little tiny stars and teeny weeny coffins. Super cute. No clue what I'm going to do with them. So I am having to think about that, obviously. I ordered this from them too, which is a big job lot of various different, some of them are colour shifting glitters and big chunky glitters as well. So this is going to come in super, super handy when I want to do combinations of stuff. So that's Supply Studio. As I say, I'll leave a link for them down in the comments. So we'll just clear this lot away, and then I can show you the other bits that I have been working on off camera. So we have a nice box here of bits, some of them been working on. I made a couple of sort of botanic type hearts. Ooh, I don't know what it is, throwing them around. Right, hopefully you can see this. In here we have some fern, and in the back here you can see a bit more clearly. This is part of, we have a buddleia, and I've been drying the flowers of the buddleia in between just regular kitchen towel and in a book, just to try and see what they look like in here. Now, one thing that I encountered, now I could have googled this, but this is part of my own learning process. For these, these were smaller hearts originally, and in the smaller hearts I put the botanical stuff in, and some weird stuff happened where the botanical stuff was kind of sticking out. That's not really what you want. So I got the mould, and I put the little tiny hearts that I'd made, and I put them in, and then I put in regular resin underneath with the fern pieces there, and then I refilled the mould to make, so it was a smaller one, and I made basically bigger hearts because I didn't want the stuff sticking out. Now I have another one here that I made. Now this was one where I haven't made it big, and I wanted to keep this to show you the difference, because you see this weird bubbleness here. You see this? That seems to have happened distinctly because, and even this has been in the pressure pot, you see the bubbles around the botanicals there. Now, as I say, I didn't Google this intentionally because I thought it's a good learning experience to find out what's going on and how this is working and stuff. So the botanicals, even pushing them down and making sure they're tucked inside the resin, obviously holding on to some residual bubbles. Again, like in this one. This one's not as bad bubble wise. It's got quite a biggish one there, and a little bit of sort of rippling here. The botanicals are completely dried out. They are from my own garden. They are completely dry. They have maintained some of the colour you can see in there. This is more of an experiment, so I will reuse these in something else, but I wanted to see what happened, and yeah, so that's what happened. So I found out recently that people use dice masters to create a blank dice, i.e. without the numbers on, like this. Then what they do is they use a bigger dice mould, and they put clear resin in there after making their blank dice. So the blank dice would be smaller than this. So you could put botanicals and stuff in there. If you have the issue where the botanicals are very close to the surface, on a regular die like this, as soon as you started sanding and polishing and whatnot, you'd start losing some of that, or it would be sticking out of the surface of the dice, which isn't something you want. But I have seen now that you can buy dice master moulds that are smaller than regular dice. It's kind of cool. It's like diceception. Very interesting. Don't think I'm going to get into that yet. Maybe in the future, who knows. But for the moment, I'm just trying to master what I'm doing. I have got really carried away with these wonderful little skulls. I'd like to do something to them. They're all glow-in-the-dark ones to make them more skull-looking if it was buried inside other resin. So you can see, kind of does look a bit like a skull. It's a bit tricky to make out, so I don't want to paint over all of it, but I want to do something so that it's a little bit more obvious. If it was inside, say, dice, that it was a skull. So that's something I'm thinking about. Obviously, if you've got any ideas, please drop a note in the comments, let me know. Bookmarks, again, these are so cool. I love these. I made my own braids for them. One of these is mine, this one. The other one, I haven't quite decided who's getting this one yet. That's a surprise, I suppose. It does need finishing off the edges a little bit sharp still across there. And just more hearts and things. Another fishies. This is a glow-in-the-dark fishy. I don't know why I want fishies. They just look really cool. They look really nice. And the bats. More bats. I also made a little bit of a trip to Hobbycraft. And I bought this big tub of foil. Now, I wanted to see what it looked like inside of resin. So I used the last remnants of the bit of resin that I had to put it inside this, just to see. And there's some really awesome colours going on here. There's sort of kind of greeny, as well as that gold and the autumny kind of colours in there as well. So we will definitely be using this in something. I just haven't decided what yet. So one of the other bookmarks that I made, I used botanicals in as well. I didn't fill it all the way up, and as I expected, the ferns that I put in here did float up. So I put it back in the mould, left it in the mould, I didn't take out the mould, and put it back in the pot with some additional resin on top. So now let's take this out and have a little look behind and see if it is sticking out of the back as well. Hopefully not. No, that feels good. That feels good. Look at that. That is now kind of preserved in there. That's a really cool bookmark, actually. I quite like that. I like the blue with that. I don't know if you can see that properly. There is a lot of light coming through the window at the moment. I quite like the blue in this, and I don't know what this plant is. We have loads of it out the front with these white clumpy flowers, and these lovely sort of tendrils. They dry really, really well and really nicely, and they look fluffy. So I thought it was quite nice to go in there with the fern. So we will make this bookmark up for somebody, and I will braid something on the bottom to complete that project. We also ordered some new dice moulds. Now, I mentioned this in my last video, regarding the dice moulds, that this particular mould here has some damage and wear and tear to it. So, I'd ordered some new ones. I can tell you now, these are from Werpy Dice. Now, Werpy Dice is on Etsy. They are based in the US of A. And these are individual cap moulds. Now, you can kind of see in there. These would work perfectly with UV resin, although I think UV resin, making these with UV resin would be very expensive. So this is the very first set. So this is the test to see how well I did with these. Now these are all individual ones. I also treated myself to, yes, a big lump of stuff. This is a chonk dice that's in here, and I'm super excited about this because I've made a chonk dice before. And I'm kind of hopeful that there'll be a lot more going on inside the dice when we get that out. So, first thing I wanted to mention is these moulds themselves, they have a little cap here and a little blip on the other side. There's probably a technical name. For me, they're blips. And you still have a little bit of residual resin come out. The reason is because I'm not completely 100% sure for every single individual mould exactly how much you need. So approximately it's between 5 to 7 that is required for the D20, wherever that is. That one maybe, or that one. Anyway, around about 5 to 7 milliliters of resin for each individual D20 dice. Now obviously they're not all exactly the same size. The 4's smaller and so on and so forth. So I made a little bit more and I had a tiny bit left over, so I was like, rather than waste it, I'll just make some rando dice in this mould using this colour shifting stuff, because I wanted to see what it looks like in resin. I mean, it looks super cool there, but you can't just walk around with a bag of glitter in your hand. Maybe you can. I'm sure the supply studio would like to see. Anyway, I thought I'd make a good review on Etsy. I could show something that I've made alongside the actual product. And I have a lot of their products to make things with as well. So let's have a little look, shall we, inside here. Now, I'm sure there is a specific way of doing this, other than super carefully to not damage the mould. Okay, there we go. Whoop. So we just have to get that up. So you can see here, this is the top. So you can see there's two parts to the cap and they fit in a very specific way into the bottom of here. Now there is excess, obviously, because I hadn't used these before, so I wasn't exactly sure how much I needed to put extra in, and I didn't know how much resin was going to squidge out the sides and all the rest of it as well. So I do have my scissors around here because we don't want to damage the dice on the way out or the mould. Now in here I have used, I will tell you now, some alcohol ink. So I used white alcohol ink and I think it was actually purple, but it does look a bit more pink, possibly, as it has mixed together with other elements in here. That's fine. It's all part of the learning process. to see, you know, kind of what happens. And there's happy accidents too, as Bob Ross would say. So in here we have a mica powder as well. Now I forget exactly which one I used. Oh no, I don't. I know exactly which one I used. Apologies. It's this blue Magic Aurora resin that I used, mica powder that I used in here. And then in these ones, I used just a bog standard resin powder. Now there is mold release in here, but oops, come on. This is new, so it's like, oh, I don't want it out, or maybe it's like I do want it out. Yeah. Okay. There's probably a way to. These are a little bit more tricky to get out than my other sets, I have to be honest. Maybe I'm just not pushing it hard enough. Come on. Alright, we'll come back to that one because I'm worried I'm going to damage the mould. First birthing, of course, it's going to be a bit more tricky. So, this particular set of moulds from Werpy Dice are the ones that are discontinued. Werpy Dice have other sets on Etsy. So we have a void, I believe. Yes, we do, I think. I can't tell that for sure. Maybe a void. Not sure exactly. But I do have some UV resin. So we might be able to fix that. But let's trim the outside stuff off first so we can see a little bit closer. With the bigger mould, obviously, you're rolling the side down. So it's easier to not get bubbles caught. These are significantly smaller, and as you can see there is quite a bit of excess coming off the sides, and I think, yeah, that's a void, right? Okay, I'll show you where I'm looking. Right here on the one up the top. See that? There's definitely a void. So we're not going to take this out. We're going to leave that one because we might be able to fill that with our UV resin. I don't think that's a reflection on the dice mould itself. It's probably more me because I'm used to using this one, and you know, this is a new style of creation for me, if you like. But I'm getting the hang of this opening them now. That's getting a little bit easier. There we go. Again, these are going to get real stuck in here. So even with the mould release inside the mould, because you're still trying to get a large thing out of a small thing, which, as everybody knows, is quite tricky in itself. But hopefully we can get at least one of them out without, otherwise I will have to fight with them off camera and then show you next time. Which I was kind of hoping to get at least some of them out. Now, there are different types of mould release spray. I don't have mine over here at the moment, but you can purchase them from all different places. I don't know if any particular brand is better than the other. I can't say I've personally used many different types. This is like the first time that I've used these moulds. So, oh, hang on, there he is. He's coming out. It's coming out. It's coming out. Come on. Come into the world. Oh gosh. Oh, there we go. He was really eager to get out, wasn't he? Now, oh, look how shiny that is. Oh, look how pretty and shiny. Okay, I don't know if you can see this particularly well. I hope so. But in here, where I've used the purple dye, purple alcohol dye. I used this blue, like a pale blue, I would say. It's kind of a pale blue. With the white alcohol ink. Now, instead of it all just being at the bottom, which some of it is, but actually you've got a bit of a better divide there. Oh, there we go. There's the camera. A bit of a better divide. Now, I don't know if I can focus on that. There we go. So that's come out a lot nicer, divide-wise. I wish I knew exactly how I'd done that, but that's pretty nice. The blue's a lot more purpley in there though. I mean, it's fine. It's just, I wasn't quite expecting it. Also, for these to go back together, you can see this has got a little bit of a lip here. So the little doodah, we'll call it a doodah, goes into the little thing there, and then the front part, see, it's got like a little tooth doodah, kind of goes in there. Now obviously when you've got resin inside it, because it's sticky, the resin kind of sticks to itself, but you see how nice and clear that mould is. So if you were going to use UV resin, you probably could through these, because that's nice and super clear, so you'll be able to cure them all up nicely. And that probably would not take you too long, I don't think. So that's pretty nice. I'm quite happy with these so far. These were the massively discounted ones because they're discontinued. I'm sure Werpy Dice still do individual dice moulds like this. These are the sharp-edged ones. I know that they had others on their Etsy store. I'm not exactly sure 100% which ones they had. I couldn't tell you, but I will definitely leave you a link to their store page, and you can go and check them out for yourself. Now, these were shipped from the States to the UK, so the shipping was quite a lot, but because I was looking for individual moulds rather than one big one as well, that's why I got the chonk at the same time. I was like, well, if you're buying something, you might as well, you know, get a couple more bits. It makes the postage and stuff worth it. So, and they made it here in pretty good time, I have to be honest. When they turned up, I wasn't expecting them for another week or so. So that's really cool, because that means they were here earlier than I expected. So that's more than meeting my expectations, right? So there we go. We'll just trim a little bit of this excess stuff off here. Just makes it a bit easier to get out the mould. We're being very careful to not cut any of the mould. We don't want to do that, but we just want to get this out. Okay, so I think this is the D20. The funny thing also about the Werpy Dice ones, when I received them, there's a little thing in the packet that says that they've been approved by cats, which I kind of found funny, actually. I believe probably that they own cats, and the cats have had a look around, I don't know, all of the moulds. So of course when I put the packet on the floor, mine was super interested in, hello, what is this parcel? And checking out the dice packaging and the box and everything. Gosh, I didn't think that was going to come out. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Whoa. Okay. This is pretty nice too. The white is clearly making a difference in here. So I'm using advanced white, which is heavier. And as you can see, hopefully in there, you can see there's kind of threading from the blue. I don't know what threading is. I'm just making it up now. It sounds cool though. from the there's like little tendrils, I suppose they are really, from the inks, alcohol inks, and the white, along with this blue, which I actually really like that blue colour. It's nice. I think it's a good variation, and these moulds are so smooth on the outside. When they say they're shiny moulds, they really are. Super shiny. In fact, none of those dice faces are going to need any work whatsoever, apart from this face, which is what you expect with. There are different types of moulds, obviously. You can get sprue moulds, you can get cap moulds, you can get open-faced moulds, but then I don't know how you would put the numbers on an open face mould. That would be very tricky, I think. But still, yeah, there's different types of moulds that you can get. I prefer these cap moulds. I personally find them easier, and I say that in the making of the dice. Clearly not the birthing of them, since we have one stuck. He will come out. Perhaps I just need to show him a dice tray, or once his friends are out, he might be a bit more inclined to venture out into the world. Who knows? But he will come out for sure. Now, these are obviously just a little bit trickier because you just have to give them a wiggle. Okay, so still quite a lot of excess around the edges of here that has run off. Now, I think that is generally because I was overfilling the mould, specifically because I didn't want to have any bubbles and stuff sat on the top. Which is what's happened with the, whatever that one was up there, 6 I think, yeah, the D6. So we will endeavour to fill that with my UV resin, which I've not used yet. Again, guess where I got that from? Supplier Studio, that's right. They also do this cool little torch. Now, I used to be a nail technician, so I have the finishing wipe, and I have the nail thing, and I have, you know, all that type of stuff. But I figured actually the torch might be better because it's easier to move around, to angle and bits and pieces. And if it is just one kind of blip at the top, hopefully it'll be easier to cure just quickly with just a torch. So I just need to dig some batteries out, but I am going to try and fix that dice today. I really do want to take it out of the mould though. It's very difficult to not take it out of the mould because actually we need that die space. Now I'm going to have to trim around the top of it a bit, but that's fine. So here we have the 12. It's so pretty. I'm really pleased with how the alcohol inks are now working with these mica powders, and not putting too much mica powders in definitely seems to be making a difference, which is cool because that means we are still on our learning journey and actually practicing and finding out things and them actually being relevant still once we have created our thing. This is the 4, is always the easiest one to come out, mostly because most of it is pointing up. You have the triangle behind pointing down as always, and because of that it's always easier to get the thing out, she says. Okay, so things for me to work on here definitely are maybe not putting quite so much extra resin on top, because it's all squidging out all over the sides, and actually we only have one dice that had a faulty bit like a bubble, so probably don't need to be quite that cautious, so that's fine. This is the first time I've used these, so that's fine. I'm happy with that. It's, as I say, learning experience. Definitely getting the hang of this. I'm holding it up so you can't see it, and now I'm holding it so you can see it. The alcohol inks and the mica powders there with that nice swirliness, so I'm happy with how these are coming out. You can see how beautifully clear that mould is. Very pleased with these, even more so because they were on offer. Despite the postage and packaging costs, which, you know, if you're shipping from the States is fine, you know, you'd expect that, but I would really recommend these. I've seen Werpy Dice recommended quite strongly on social media previous to this. I'd heard of them, and I've seen other people asking questions about, you know, where they could buy dice molds and stuff like that. There's a really lovely lady on Twitter who I follow called Miserable. Ritual Cast Dice she is, and she's been super helpful in helping me get everything set up and finding out information. If you're ever going to support anyone on Patreon when you start dice making, I would strongly recommend her. She's doing some videos on how you make dice, why you make dice, what you put in dice, all that type of stuff. She uses a lot of botanicals, and just really cool stuff. Plus, she was completely happy to help me and give me all this information for free. She didn't expect anything in return. So I completely happy supporting her on Patreon. I feel it's the right thing to do. And you can find her, as I say, on Twitter. If you like, take a look at her work. There's another guy, Ice Cream Dice, or Ice Cream Dice. He makes great dice too. And he's also been super helpful in just information and stuff. You know, the RPG community is they're just full of lovely people, and that's what I've discovered across the board. Is everybody that I have encountered who either plays D&D, who talks about D&D, who streams D&D, they're all super helpful. They're all so lovely, and you know, these people are willing to help, and they don't ask anything for it. So if you are at all interested in making dice, you perhaps considering your own setup, you know, it's a big expense. He's come out now, as you can tell. It's a big expense. It's a big outlay. You can't just keep creating dice just for yourself, because you will end up with a house full. Or you can fill up someone else's house full. Creating them for your friends is a great idea, but eventually you're going to have to do something more than just, you know, making them for you and your mates. So it is a big setup cost. I would definitely recommend looking into making not just dice but other things, to make the most, to get the benefit from your money and the materials. Oh God, I'd really like that D20. Sorry, I got really distracted there. That is just stunning. I don't know how well you can see that. Very, very nice. Really like this set. And I've just decided with my purple set, I was going to keep my purple set, but I really like these as well. I don't know how well you can see those. Look at them, they're so pretty. They'll look amazing in the sun, and I will take some pictures of them. Once I've kind of trimmed them up a bit and sorted out the D6, I will take some pictures of them and put them on Twitter, because I've been putting a lot of stuff up there, and also on my, gosh, what's the other one called? There's another one, Instagram, that's the one. I've been putting stuff on there as well. So it'd be great to have these sorts of things, you know, these pictures and stuff on there. Also, any links to anything, if you want, I can leave those for you as well. Let's look at the chonk. Okay, so this is using this magic Aurora mica powder. That was from Mind Creations Studio. Again, guess where they're on? Etsy? Yep, that's the one. Double bagged, it's sent double bagged, which is great, and this stuff is like super fine, finer I found than just regular mica powder. There is this amazing blue quality to it. Now they had other ones, I thought I would just get one to try, so I figured the best way to see it properly was in a slightly bigger piece, so we put it in the chonk D20. And that's a cat howling that has decided she doesn't know how to get through the back door. We'll be back in a sec once we've sorted the cat out. Yeah, we've sorted the cat out now. It's gone in the lounge. Hopefully it won't start howling again. She's just a bit dappy when it comes to... Back door's open, but there's a net curtain hanging. You know, one of those ones that's got like a magnet in the middle. And she can't seem to work out how to get through it, even though our other cat is like, yeah, this is totally how you do it. And she just watches him go through and just stands there and howls at the door. I don't know if it's because she's lazy, she's old, or who knows. But yeah, she just makes me laugh. Right, here we go. So you can see there is some of this blue. I think I probably dumped a little bit of this blue in as well, just to see kind of what happened here. So let's see. I can pull the sides away a little bit. It's a bit frightening, isn't it? When you're like, oh, is it going to come out? Is it going to tear? Am I going to be able to get it out? And, gosh, this is so big. It feels enormous. It really does. Right. Okay, so. Ready, steady. It does not want to come out. Come on. Okay, like, this is just, oh, okay, my thumbs are really not strong enough for this, I don't think, so, come on, we're gonna have to give him a wiggle here. He doesn't want to come out. I'm sure you look amazing, come out. Oh, jeez. Okay. Oh, it's coming out, it's coming out. Gosh, dear, it is literally like giving birth over here. Come on, you can do it. He does not want to come out. Wow, okay. I'm so scared of tearing this mould if I can't get him out, but they were designed to come out, and it's not stuck, it's just big. Oh, come on. There we go. It's coming out. Oh my gosh. This is so funny. Oh no. Oh my gosh, it's huge. No wonder it can't get out. Oh dear, come on. Oh no. No, it's going back in. Right. Okay, last push. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Okay, excess resin coming out. Oh, whoa, look at that. Whoa. Okay. That is a monster. Okay, that's a standard D20. Can you see? Standard D20. And that That is a chonk. Wow. That is so heavy. Oh, there is a significant difference there. I mean, look at that. That is so tricky to get out of there though. But that mould is still perfect. There's no damage to it at all. Thank God. Wow, okay. Might have to... How on earth do you get mould release spray up and inside? I mean, yeah, I'm going to have to look into my mould spray. However, any of you guys watching, if you have a mould release that you use, maybe you're making giant D20s, maybe you're using Werpy Dice moulds, maybe you're making your own moulds and you have this amazing spray that you think, oh wow, you know, people should be using that, please tell me, because I would love to know. And I mean, there's a guy who's been following my videos as well, who's commented on quite a lot of them, has given some really valid comments, really valid advice, and has been interacting there, and that's really great. I would love to tell you his name, however I can't remember, but you will find him and his comments subsequent on my previous videos. And he's been really good interacting as well, so that's really helpful, and that's really nice to see that people are interested in this kind of thing. The other thing that I don't know if you can see this particularly well, but this Magic Aura mica powder, this is so pretty. There is this kind of bluey cloudiness as well. Now I've got it kind of threaded through the other parts as well of this dice. There you go. With the pinkiness at the bottom just kind of coming up here a little bit, but that is got clear bits in the middle, and then there's maybe the blobs of the other mica powder don't look so good, but this is kind of a test to see what's this going to come out like. You could maybe even put a D20 in the middle. I don't know how that would go. Probably not painted numbers though, but that would work too. So this has got shiny faces again. I've no idea what colour I'm going to paint this either. I would have said blue, but then there's other, I don't know, maybe it's too much. If you have any suggestions for number colours, that would be helpful too. So let's go on to the last bit real quick, and then I can put some links for you in the comments. So with this one, I use this colour shifting stuff, this lovely green, or is it purple, or is it green and purple stuff from Supply Studio, just to use up the last little bit of resin in my standard dice mould that I have from original videos. And in here I did just make, oh, it didn't like only having two, that's for sure. I made some, just a 4 and a 6. But there's something weird has happened in here. So I wonder if that's because they weren't all filled. But never mind, it doesn't matter too much because these were not necessarily to be usable dice. It was more just to find out what this lovely colour shifting stuff looked like inside of something. So regardless of how good or not good they look, we will be able to ascertain that at least. So in here we have the colour shifting stuff in the D4. Much easier to get out. So I didn't put too much in because I didn't quite know what was going to happen or how much, but it's very sparkly and out of focus still. There we go, in focus. So there is purple, and I can see like reds and other colours as well going on in there, so it's quite interesting. Something weird has happened to the 6. It's like it got squashed. It was in the pressure pot, so I wonder if that's what it was. Either way, like I said, doesn't matter massively, because what I wanted to see was what the colour shifting stuff looked like. So on this dice face, as you can see, where it all sinks to the bottom, on that 6 face, you can see kind of the colour shifting a bit. I wonder if it would look better with the mica powder in there as well. The mould looks completely normal now, but if you see that, what's that about? You see a weird shape going on there. So I'm wondering if that's because I only filled up 2, Obviously, if you wanted to only make one of these, that's fine, you just make one. But perhaps there's something weird went on because I only filled up 2 and it was, you know, being squashed in weird directions by the pressure pot. So we have a funky shape. Although I quite like the funky shape, but actually I quite like the fact that now I can see what that looks like, which is good, because that was the main thing, not to have something usable, but to have something where I could see what it looked like. So I will leave you some links to the Supplier Studio in the comments, also to Werpy Dice on Etsy, so that you can go and take a look at their moulds as well. If you're in the States, the shipping is probably cheaper. If you're in the UK, however, I think it's about £18, but based on what I've got out, I think that's completely worth it. And they arrived much quicker than I was expecting. So check them out. Check out Mind Creation Studio, which the guys that make this this mica powder here, and the Suppliers Studio, which are the guys that make all the other bits and pieces. So if there's anything else that you've seen in one of my videos, or there's any kind of particular things you want me to talk about, like my choice of colours, or why I would use powders and inks, or anything at all, drop me a note in the comments, and we'll see what we can do. So until next time, take care and speak to you soon. Bye. Oh yes, not a phone. Speak to you soon. You know what I mean. Bye.